What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris, man. So we are here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I got a special guest coming on. Her name is Natalie Spala. She is a reporter, sports anchor reporter. Um, she is somebody who's going to be also a 4-year basketball player at the University of Michigan Dearborn. So I'm excited to bring her on. I'm excited to talk to her about her why, talk to her about why she wanted to get into sports, get to know her a little bit as well. So looking forward to talking to her and bringing her on, no doubt about it. So without any further ado, I bring to you Ms. Natalie Spala. Hey Natalie, how you doing?
Hey, sorry. Were you waiting for me? Because I was like sitting in here, like waiting to be let in, but maybe I was doing everything wrong.
Yeah, something was going on with my Zoom to the point where I couldn't connect to the video, and I had to sign out and sign in, sign out and sign in. So
No worries. No worries.
yeah,
I just want to make sure you weren't waiting for me. So I appreciate it. Do you want me this way or do you want me upwards?
well, you're actually right now you're horizontal. So if you can do
Okay.
upward, that'd be good.
Go upwards. Okay. No
Perfect,
worries.
perfect.
Perfect.
How we doing this morning?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No, no problem. Thank you for hopping on. To me, it was a no-brainer. Looking
Oh,
at some
you're
of your
sweet.
reels that you've done, um, I enjoyed specifically the one where you talked about the Detroit Lions finally getting their win after 11 months of not having a win. Uh,
Far too long. I know that was like last year's a clip I did last year. So not much has changed for my Lions team. So to say the least.
you ain't lying about that one, unfortunately. But I also like the fact that you just have a great presence in front of the camera. Obviously,
Thank you.
obviously the camera loves your face. Beauty is obvious. But your work ethic, your hard work shows with your preparation and what you do in front of the camera. And also, about hard work because, you're a 4-year basketball player, as I've learned at the University of Michigan Dearborn. So,
I sure am. You did your research. I appreciate it.
I did. So, without any further ado, Natalie, I'm going to get into it. Now, you're from Livonia, Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
That's
I'm
right.
from Michigan. 20 minutes outside of Detroit is essentially what I tell people.
Okay. Okay. Got you. So I want to know, growing up, what were some of your inspirations slash aspirations? And also, what gravitated you towards a career in sports journalism?
Yeah, so it was kind of funny because a lot of people, especially in this industry, I've kind of learned that they wanted to get into this industry since they were 8 years old, 9 years old. They see it
Yeah.
on TV and they're like, that's what I want to do with my life. Well, that wasn't really the case for me. Growing up, I was always involved with sports. I played college basketball, like you mentioned, but I really picked up every sport there was available to play, especially at a young age with my brothers. So I've always been surrounded by sports. I've always loved sports, but it was kind of later on into college where I realized, hey, maybe this is something I could actually do with a career. So I wasn't going to play overseas basketball. I wasn't going to the WNBA. I knew that was never an option, just off the table originally. But I mean, people usually see this on TV, and that's kind of how they get inspired. And I mean, the same with me. I was always watching sports on TV. I always thought, hey, that looks amazing, but never really did I consider that being a career of mine.
Right.
So into college, it was probably my back half of my sophomore year, my second or my first semester of junior year, where I was like, you know what? I don't know how I'm gonna make it happen, but I liked it enough and I was interested in it enough to say, let me try to figure out how I can get from here to there. So that's really
Okay.
how it started. I was a communications major at the time. Communications is a very large and broad degree in terms of when you're in college. So
Yes,
I
it
knew I
is.
needed to kind of segue and try to figure out how I can narrow that down into specifically what I want to do, which was doing on camera work for journalism. So went to my counselor, kind of figured all the nuts and bolts of it out to really kind of segue my degree into journalism. But really, and perhaps this is the same for you, is that yes, a 4-year degree is amazing, but it's really those internships that get you into your first career out of
Right.
college. So I was able to land a internship with Fox Sports Detroit, or excuse me, the sports department of Fox 2 in Detroit. So I interned them for 2 full semesters. And then after that, I put a reel together. I was able to kind of get my reel out to people before I'd even graduated. And then before I graduated, I had a job set up for me. So that's kind of my story there.
Nah, that's all right. I love that. I love the fact that you put stuff together. You was proactive. Because a lot of times, as you know, Natalie, in this industry, when you graduate, man, you on the job market and you looking for a while. And there's people that be looking for months.
Yes.
Sometimes. And trying to apply to hundreds of jobs to just get that one opportunity. So for you to be able to do something like that, it's pretty amazing to hear. We talked about it a little bit. You went to the University of Michigan, Dearborn. Now, can you please explain to me what the difference is from University of Michigan and University of Michigan, Dearborn?
Yeah, no problem. It's funny because when I moved down south to South Carolina, I just tell people it's University of Michigan because at the end of the day it is. But Michigan has 3 campuses. Everyone knows their Ann Arbor campus, but then there's 2 other campuses. It's Dearborn and Flint. So it's a sister school of Ann Arbor. So we were the Wolverines. We did everything affiliated with the university in Ann Arbor. We're just that like hub school.
Okay. Now I want to know, were there any other schools that you considered that could have persuaded you from going to the University of Michigan?
In terms of school, see, that's what's interesting is that a basketball scholarship kind of landed me at Dearborn. I know Michigan State, specifically in the state of Michigan, has a great broadcasting program. But like I said, it was kind of a few years into college before I realized I wanted to go into broadcasting. Okay. So I had a basketball scholarship. I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with my career after high school, which is okay. A lot of people, they figure out what they want to do a few years into college. And that was the case for me. So It was kind of interesting where Dearborn was close to where I lived. I had a basketball scholarship. So I was like, you know what, this makes sense for now. I'll figure it out down the road, what specifically I want to do. So that's kind of how Dearborn ended up being the college and university I chose.
Well, listen, anybody that's going to give you some free money to be able to hoop and be able to learn, I mean, why not jump on that? That's for sure. I'm glad you explained the difference because, when I was researching, as I normally do with every guest that I have on, and I talk to and have conversations with, I looked up the University of Michigan and I saw that you was a 4-year starter. And I was like, oh, that's dope. You played Michigan 4 years basketball? And then I'm like looking and I'm like, hey man, I don't see her name. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, not that cool. Not D1 cool, but I'm still college athlete. So
that's all right. That's all right. You still a baller, you still a hooper. So you play shooting guard. I know that. So do you still got any of those skills to play?
You know what I do? Okay, crazy because I'm like, yeah, I'm college athlete. I'm washed up. Like that's what we all like joke about and everything. But I was hooping the other day and I still got it. So I'm not gonna say I'm that washed up.
Listen, anybody that plays a D1 in 4 years in college, washed up, they need to be thrown out of the box. You know what I'm saying? Because you playing against other caliber athletes. Although you transition into doing something different, as long as you got that jump shot, everything else will come back to you. So you know what I'm saying? So
there you go.
Hey, listen, basketball is my favorite
I couldn't
sport.
agree more.
I know you're in South Carolina. I'm in Georgia now. Hey, we might have to set up a horse game or something. You know what I'm saying? Because I know one-on-one, I ain't even trying to be embarrassed by you like that. But horse, I think I got you. I think I can get you. Horse. I might. Let's see.
Okay, even if people are doing everything virtually these days, I'm sure we can make a virtual horse game. We could set that up at the very least.
Hey,
I'm sure we can make that happen some way, somehow.
I'm with that. Say less. No
Works
doubt.
for me.
I want to ask you, Natalie, some of your favorite things. And off the rip, you tell me, okay?
Okay.
Favorite music?
Ooh, okay. I gotta say R&B. I feel like that's just the best, like, kind of, I don't know. I'm like, one day I could listen to rap, one day I could listen to country, but I'd say R&B. I always fall back to that one, so that's mine.
Is there any artists out there that you like? Maybe a Chris Brown, maybe some of the new ones, Jacquees, maybe Usher.
I love my girls. I love SZA. I love Summer Walker. I love Black. I gotta say Big Sean's probably he's more, not so much R&B, more rap, but Big Sean's from Detroit. So
You
he's
gotta
my
rep that.
guy. Gotta
Yeah.
represent the 313.
You know what? My partners and I had a debate because we normally have debates about different artists about what is their
Okay.
best record that they ever made. For me, Jay-Z was the Black Album. Blueprint One was a close second. For me, Kanye, his best album was My Twisted Dark Fantasy. College Dropout to me was a
Okay.
very good second, but you can argue for Big Sean that Paradise, that Paradise album
Okay.
that he made was my favorite without question. So,
I'm
yeah,
thinking I have to agree with you there.
yeah, he was dope on that one. He was something different, no doubt. Okay, I like the different music that you got going on. What's your favorite movie genre?
Thank you. Ooh, okay. I have to. This probably is just a no-brainer, but sports movies are always the best. My favorite movie of all time is Remember the Titans. Since I was like a little girl, that's my
What?
absolute
Are
favorite
you
movie.
serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy because that's my favorite movie too. I love Remember the Titans.
Really?
I'm serious. Listen, strong side.
Left side, strong side, baby. Oh my gosh, no, I love it. I say that because I was a little Hayden Panettiere growing up, so I'd always like looked at there. I was like, hey, that's me on TV, and my parents were always the same way.
You
So,
do kind
but
of
that's
resemble
just a
her a
great
little bit.
movie.
So you do kind of
In my
resemble her a
younger
little.
years,
Yeah. Okay.
I love
I,
it.
I feel it. I feel it. What's your favorite meal to cook?
Favorite meal to cook? Oh gosh. Let me think on that for a second.
Mm.
I love just honestly chicken and broccoli. I feel like that's so boring and normal, but I like meal prepping. I do that a bunch. I love a good crock pot meal, especially this time of year now that it's getting like
Oh,
colder outside. But shoot, that kind of changes. I'm a big into Pinterest, so like I'll just scroll on there and like see, hey, what can I make? I'm not a huge cooker. I probably should be more, but I don't have time. So that's why meal prepping is so like great because then you're good for a whole week. So I usually just do chicken and broccoli or chicken and a veggie or something like that. So super basic, but what are you
mm.
gonna do?
I like that. There's no problem with chicken and broccoli. You know, I put cheese on my broccoli, so everything just be
There you go.
good. Yes, indeed. You can't go wrong with that.
Throw cheese on anything. You're good.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
say less. You already know. I got two more for you. Favorite place you ever traveled to?
Ooh, okay. Favorite place. Gosh, you're stumping me on these questions. Favorite place,
Hey,
favorite place. Okay, so my first job out of college, I lived in I'm from like Southeast Michigan, but I lived in Traverse City, Michigan for 2 years. That was where my first job was. So if I take out my handy Michigan map, this is like where I'm from,
right.
but then Traverse City is all the way at the top.
Whoa.
So I
Okay.
lived there for 2 years. Great place to live. Couldn't love it more, but only in the summer because I'm not into snow, not into cold. That's why I'm so glad to be in South Carolina. But
Yeah.
definitely some of the best places and places I've visited and traveled to just in that Traverse City region, they're all up there. So
Okay.
especially like hiking, there were some great hiking spots. So really just that Traverse City, Northern Michigan hub is, I feel like, a great place to live. And I definitely recommend it to anyone looking for a place to travel.
That's what's up. Traverse City. I'm gonna have to tap into that. That's for sure. I know South Carolina. I've been there twice. A couple Clemson games. They got some very good
Yeah.
barbecue down there. Don't know about the best barbecue, but they got some very good barbecue in South Carolina. That's for sure.
Okay, where's the best barbecue then? That's my question.
Well, I would say Missouri, Kansas City.
Okay.
Memphis is a close second. If you've been down to Beale Street, or if you go to Memphis, go to Beale Street. Beale Street got some of the best barbecue on that street, no doubt. Kansas City, Missouri, to me is the best that I've tried.
Okay, I'll have to remember that. I've
So,
never been to any of those states. So if I ever find myself in that region, I got Bill Street down. I definitely have some
listen,
barbecue in my future.
you already got the social media, so hit me up, let me know, and I will tap in with you. You did? So no doubt.
Beautiful.
Now,
I
here's my
love it.
last question of the favorites. What's your favorite alcoholic drink?
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm big into wine. Honestly, just a Pinot Noir and I'm good to go. I feel like I'm not nothing too fancy. I love wine, but definitely Pinot Noir is the way. to go when it comes to wine.
Okay. So are you more of a red than white?
Definitely more of a red than white. I feel like when everyone starts drinking, of course, at 21, they're always like, just a disclaimer. They always are like the fruity, the sugary, the whites usually is how everyone kind of starts, and then they wean themselves onto the reds. But reds is definitely where my palate extends to.
I love that. I do. Now, Natalie touched up on internships. I want to know what kind of internships did you do and what did you learn from them that you take now to your current job?
Yeah, so my internships, I did 2 years at Fox 2 Detroit when I was in college. I really just got a sense of what a newsroom looked like, kind of the day to day, because what you see it on TV, and that's really the extent of how much you understand of what happens at a news station, what happens in a newsroom. But
Yeah.
really just being there and throwing yourself into the atmosphere is really, you just soak it all in essentially. So I really just learned like the day to day, what people do, what things look like, how we get from point A to point B in terms of how a story begins, and then the final product that you see on TV. Because especially on TV, we see an anchor or a reporter, they intro their story, and then it's really that one man show, which of course is not the case in a newsroom. There are so many people behind the scenes doing the work, producers, editors, writers, everyone's got photographers, everyone's got their own job. So it's really interesting to see how something begins and then the final product you see.
Yeah, I really love that answer that you gave. Because like I said, internships are key. Me personally, I've done one internship. I didn't do before I graduated college. I graduated this past July, so I did one, but it was with a sports team, and it was a game day operations internship. And it was like, okay, I just wanted to kind of work with a sports team. And the crazy thing about it was over in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I had to catch the mega bus at like 6 o'clock in the morning from Atlanta to get to Knoxville at 10. I had to pay for my hotel. And this is also an unpaid internship. So it was crazy. And I did that for 3 months while still working full time as a lottery like I do now, and also going to school full time as well. So internships really teach you a lot about what to do, what you're going to face in the real world with your job, but it also teaches you what you don't want to do, things that you don't particularly like, and things that you don't want to pursue in your career. So I love that answer by you, which is a great segue to the next question, because now you are in the professional field and you seem like a very personable person, somebody who I could definitely see myself kicking it with, watching a game or drinking a beer. Once again, 21
Yeah.
and up. Disclaimer.
21 up. Of
don't
course.
don't encourage underage drinking at all. But
Never.
I want to ask, how do you balance your work life and your social life, but also maintain good mental health? Because mental health is starting to really be important in the forefront of people's lives. And with jobs like these, sports does not have a 9 to 5 job. It's breaking news. It's all over the place, right? And it's not consistent every single day. That's the one thing I love about it, that you're gonna get something different damn near every day. But it can also run you into the ground if you're not careful enough and you don't have the right hierarchy that respects your mental health. So how do you balance all of that and maintain good mental health?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And honestly, full disclaimer, it's something I'm still trying to figure out because this is my third year in this industry. And I can tell you that, like you mentioned, it's not a 9 to 5. You do not have days off. You really put yourself in a lot of positions where you're testing your mental health, you're testing how far you can push yourself. And I feel like that's something I definitely want people who are considering getting into the industry, I want them to know, because like I said, I'm still trying to figure out. It's not where you wake up and you figure out, oh, hey, this is exactly the answer to that problem, because there is really no answer. It takes time to figure out really that balance between work life, social life, really all of those factors that really construct a healthy mental health. but it's definitely something that's a struggle, and it's a reason a lot of people, they aren't interested in this industry. Like you mentioned, internships are a good kind of sign of what's to come down the road. Um, but in terms of me, these are really the years, especially your first few years in your intern or your career path. You really just have to put yourself first in terms of really everything, not just in work, but you really got to find a balance, because a lot of people who start in the industry, they're yes men, they're yes women, their bosses say one thing, you're yes, 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 yes. And that is 100%. I don't say no to that, because I'm a full believer of never turn down an opportunity, because if you turn down one, you're going to turn down more. And then people are going to, of course, get to know you as someone who doesn't take a chance of the opportunities. But so I'm not saying turn down opportunities, but figure out a good balance for yourself and figure out really how you want to construct your life outside of work. For me, I love working out. I love running. So figure out a few hobbies that could really kind of put you into that Zen mode, but also figure out the people you want to have in your life outside of work, because a lot of people, especially at work, you all are friends. I like to joke, you're all in the trenches together. Because a lot of people understand, the people in the industry, I mean, they understand how it works, but a lot of people outside of the industry, they struggle to understand how it works. Hey, you've been working 2 hours past 5 o'clock. What are you doing? Hey, you were supposed to call me. Like, people just don't understand that there's a different set of criteria when it comes to this job in terms of really your availability. And so the people that understand that and can support you, those are the people you want to have in your life and in your circle. Because it's not easy. It's not easy at the end of the day. So I guess that's my biggest advice, is just create a life outside of work that is carefree, that is essentially your vibe, because there's a lot of stressors in this job, and you don't want to have stressors outside of work, outside of the workplace. So that's kind of my biggest advice there.
I'm glad you brought something up that really raised my eyebrow, and that's a terrific answer, by the way. And it's the fact that people in the business world, that you said, people that do a 9 to 5 really cannot relate to people in the journalism field. And the reason why that raised my eye a little bit is because I lost a couple friends this past um, year, because I kept having to turn things down. I'm a full believer of people make time for people that they want to see. I don't believe in the phrase of I'm too busy, because the reason why I don't believe in that is because I believe that, okay, you may be busy that day, but if you're willing to make time for that individual, then you're willing to make time for that individual. There's always time that can be made for someone if you want to see them, if you want to be around them. But, my friends kept asking me, hey, let's go to the bar, let's turn up, let's have a drink. Hey, I love it. I love going to the bar. This podcast is called Work Hard, Play Harder. So that's the mantra I live by. There's no question about it. But I do have responsibilities. I do have deadlines. I do have assignments. And they knew that too. But they was like, dang, you're never available for us. And when I am available, they're not available. So it really raised my attention when you said that, because it is so true that you really got to make friends in the industry that you're going to be in, because it's very difficult for people outside to understand our schedule and to be okay and comfortable with that. I want to do this or that with you. And I'm going to throw two things out, and then you just tell me which one you want to decide. Okay?
Okay.
Drive-ins or movie theaters?
Ooh, probably a drive-in, I'd say, just because I feel like they're not really a thing in Michigan, because it's warm like 3 months out of the year. Yeah. So I feel like I've never been to like a good drive-in, and I also can't sit still in a movie theater. So I'd like to at least be able to like move around in the car. So that's my answer.
I love it. Well, you out there in South Carolina now, where it's pretty hot. It gets pretty hot here. I'm gonna need you to tap in and go to a drive-in if they got them out there. I love drive-ins too, because you can buy your own food, bring it in, eat when you want. You ain't got to keep going to the concession stands for stuff like that, or waiting no long lines. And drive-ins are typically cheaper than the movie theaters as well. Family atmosphere,
There
nice
you
date
go.
night as well. So I can dig that.
There you go. I
Thanksgiving,
respect it.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Oh, probably Thanksgiving, honestly. Especially, maybe I would have given you a different answer like a few years back, but definitely Thanksgiving because that's another beauty of this industry is that you work holidays. I don't remember the last time I've not worked a holiday. I work Thanksgiving and I know I'm going to work the holidays coming up, but Thanksgiving is really a time to like commence yourself with community or family. Like this year I wasn't able to go home for my to see my family, but luckily there's a million wonderful people I work with, so I was able to spend Thanksgiving with some people from work. So Thanksgiving really reminds you that of all the things you're thankful for. And for me, it was being able to, while I wasn't with my family, still be with people that love and care and support me. So definitely Thanksgiving for that reason.
That's awesome. That really is. I love that. MJ or LeBron?
Ooh, that's a good one. Usually I always say, because people are always like, what was your number in college when you played basketball? And it was like, LeBron, duh, 23. But when it comes to I have to admit, I watched The Last Dance and I was always like a LeBron lover, but I honestly have this new found love for MJ. So that's a tough one. Can I say neither? And can I say both?
Not
That's
on the Work
tough.
Hard Play
No, you're not
Hard
gonna let me?
podcast.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah, we ask tough questions around here, Natalie, baby. We get
I
tough
guess
answers.
so. All right, put me on the hot seat.
We can do
Let's
51-49. 51-49.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Which one's 51?
I'm gonna have to say MJ.
I like it.
MJ 51, LeBron 49.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's based solely on The Last Dance and then seeing, of course, LeBron do what he's able to do for the stretch of his career, because I feel like I was extremely young and I really wasn't even born yet. What am I talking about? I wasn't even born when MJ was carrying it up. So I basing that answer solely on documentaries and of course what people say about MJ and everything. So which is absolutely incredible.
Okay, all right. What about Brady or Montana?
Oh, Brady, of course. He's a Michigan boy. Next question.
You did go to UNF, right? You did. I feel that.
There you
go. South Carolina or Traverse City, Detroit?
Ooh. But they're so great for different reasons. I mean, that's always going to be home, but honestly, I couldn't have asked for anything else or any more moving to South Carolina. I knew I wanted to ditch the snow. I knew I needed to be by water. I knew I needed to get out of state just to see some things that are new. So I got to go South Carolina for now, but Michigan's of course always going to be home.
Oh, no doubt. Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach down there in South Carolina. I got to tap in because I ain't never been there, but I got to tap in to at least both of those because I love water too, growing up in California. So I love that, no doubt. Okay.
There you go. You got to visit Charleston too. Charleston's kind of awesome, I have to say.
Okay. Well, listen, if Natalie says it, then it must be. So I'm definitely gonna put some put some on it, no doubt. Okay. 3 more I got for you. This is barbecue. This is wing flavors. Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Ooh, barbecue. I'd say barbecue. Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
You wet lemon or pepper? Dry rub?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I'm wet. Yeah, I think I didn't even know what like dry rub was before I moved here. So I'm still learning all the barbecue like lingo and everything, but I feel dipping sauces are the way to go.
Yes, indeed. Bowling or softball?
Ooh, that's a good one. Shoot, that's a good one. I don't think anyone's ever asked me those two. Let's do. I used to play. Did you say softball?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to play softball, so I think I got to go that route. Yeah, okay. I do softball. That's a good one.
Gotcha. Okay, so this last one here is about the 30 for 30 documentary on ESPN. Are you aware of those?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I want you to pick one or the other on this. All right. Okay. Survive in Advance or Bad Boys?
Bad Boys, easy. That's a no-brainer. I don't even need to dive into that one.
That was a damn good one, wasn't it? It was a good one. I love that one. I love that.
That was a really good one.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
I feel it. I feel it. Okay, so you graduate from Michigan University Dearborn, and you become an MMJ for NBC News. I want you to tell me what did you learn from that first job of being, a multimedia journalist? Because for those that will watch this, MMJs normally are one-man bands. So they do everything. They carry the equipment. They set up the equipment. They shoot. They're in front. They edit. They write. It's just everything that they do, and it's a tiring process carrying all that equipment, lugging it around, and doing everything yourself. But what did you learn from that process that you take with you till to this day?
Yeah, and I think you spelt it out beautifully, is that you are a one-man band, and that's really what you learn in that first job, is that it's a grind, and there's either people that embrace the grind or there's people that don't. So you really decide in that first contract, because most people are contracted when they sign on to their first year. I was contracted for 2 years. Right. So you really figure out in those 2 years, is this something you want to pursue and do? Or is this something you don't? And you really figure out, like I said, that balance in your life. You figure out, is this good for my mental health? And to answer that question, usually in those first 2 years, you decide, no, it is not good, which is not farthest thing from crazy whatsoever. But you really decide, are you in it for the right reasons? And I want to emphasize that specifically because, like I said, when you see things on TV, it looks glamorous. It looks like it's super fun and everything, but you figure out the right reasons for this career in that first year.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, you're carrying your equipment, you're on deadline, you're sitting there for so many hours thinking, how am I going to get all of this done by 5 o'clock or before 5 o'clock? So it's one thing to, see it on TV. It's another thing to put yourself in the position of doing 10 different jobs within 8-9 hours. And that's where you really decide if this is something you want to do with your life.
And I'm so happy you brought that up, because a lot of people, they do see you in front of the camera. They see the beautiful face, right? They see, oh, well, it's glamorous. Let's see, she's in front of the camera. Oh, man, it must be all good. And they really don't understand the behind the scenes of what you do. Just to get yourself in front of the camera to talk and be able to do that. And like you said, you mentioned deadlines. What if something goes wrong? When you don't get an interview, you don't get a sound bite, a flat tire may happen on the drive back to the station to try to, if something could go wrong or something could go awry. And then now you on the hustle, you trying to move and you trying to do it. So it's really, I have a tremendous amount of respect for MMJs and just anybody in this industry, period, because it ain't built for everybody. Like you said, it is not built for everybody. But you do realize that once you start going into the years, this is something that you really love to do, and you just do it passionately, without question. I, Natalie, want to know your top 4 events that you would like to cover over a career. What would you like to cover over a career? Your top 4 events.
My top 4 events. Okay, from the jump, I have to say March Madness, because that's easily the most wonderful time. The most wonderful time of the year is March Madness. I know people talk about Christmas, most wonderful time, whatever that means, but definitely March Madness. They're all sporting events, so I have to say March Madness. I'd honestly love to just do. Can I just encompass Big Ten basketball as one event, because I'd love to cover Big Ten basketball.
Let's go. Why not?
That's my favorite, and I definitely the best conference too. But I'm slightly biased. But I'd love to do that. I mean, I feel like a Super Bowl is on everyone's list when it comes to in the sports industry for sure, because I think that was just an outstanding atmosphere in itself. And then probably just NBA Finals. That's a great one too. There's just a lot going on in the sports world, so I'm glad everything is kind of ramping up again.
Yeah.
I mean, a World Series would be on that list again too. Really, any of the major events in any major sport, I feel like is
Wow.
pretty self-explanatory. So who knows? One day, perhaps, but it's just trust the process, I guess, is what people say, and that's really the way to go.
Now, I know you can't tell, but I'm absolutely blushing over here because of my pigmentation. You probably can't tell. But and the reason why I'm blushing over here is because you said every event that I would like to do in my top four, especially when you said March Madness. There's nothing like a March Madness. It's absolutely
Nothing
crazy.
like March Madness.
Nothing like March Madness. Brackets get busted every single year. That committee does a great job of putting those 68 teams, and not just talking about the men's side either, the women's side too. The women's side is incredible,
Heck yeah.
incredible athletes on that women's side. There's no question about it. You mentioned the NBA Finals. Obviously, growing up in California, I'm a huge Lakers fan. We're not doing so hot right now.
Okay.
We're doing all right. But you know, things can change.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Things can change, you know, but we'll see. And then you also mentioned the Super Bowl. That's a sentimental thing to me because of my dad. My dad's a huge football fan. I told him one day I'm going to take you to the Super Bowl and cover it. And he looked at me kind of crazy. He was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna be in this industry. I'm gonna bust my tail, and I'm gonna take you to the Super Bowl. I promise you." And he said, "If you do that, you'll never have to do anything for me again." Because he's a huge, huge football fan. So I said, "I'm working on it. Don't worry about that." World
I
Series.
love it.
I love the fact you said World Series. I really am because I'm a huge baseball fan. Padres to be exact. Once again, being from San Diego.
Okay.
I know you guys just got a big time shortstop that just signed for $140 million, and Javier Baez out there in Detroit. So hopefully the Tigers are on the up and up. But obviously, I know you guys got a lot of things to do to try to catch the White Sox and other teams in that division. But we'd
I
love
was
to
gonna.
do a world.
It's been a few rough years for Detroit sports. Growing up, I felt like I was spoiled with the Wings were always a successful team. I mean, Pistons 0304. Tigers had a good run there too, but Lions have always been bad, but that's neither here nor there. But in the last like 10 years, I feel like every year, oh, it's a rebuilding year. Oh, it's a rebuilding year. I'm ready for a year that's not a rebuilding year. So hopefully Baez will give us some love and we'll be on the up and up with all these teams.
Hey, as much as you paying that brother, I hope he does. That's for sure.
Gonna say.
He getting broke off. You had to mention 0304, huh, Natalie? You had to mention
Oh,
0304
of course.
Pistons. Oh my gosh. That's like a knife to my heart when I take a look at that
Talk
series.
about a team. Talk about a team.
Yeah,
I
that was a
love it.
great team. That was a great team, no doubt.
Another reason why I love The Last Dance so much. Heck yeah.
Okay, I love it. Now, let's talk about what challenges have you faced being in this industry? You know, not just from maybe doing the job or job being kind of taxing on you, maybe your gender. You know, there's not a whole lot of women. It needs to be, well, I should say there needs to be more women in more sport communicative roles. I don't think we have enough. I don't think I can say that enough. I think we need more minorities as well in sport communicative roles as well. But talk about any kind of challenges that you faced during this industry and how you overcame it.
Yeah, I won't even dive into the whole like the grind of it all because that I could go on for hours talking about just those challenges in itself. But
Mm,
I think a lot of what a lot of people struggle with is really just having faith in yourself. Those internal struggles that people ask or they question themselves, is this something that I'm meant to do? Because I truly believe there's a reason everyone really just gets into the industry or there's a reason for everyone's career choice. So I feel like a lot of like that struggle is people asking, is this something that I'm supposed to be doing with my life? Is this something that I'm capable of doing?
yeah.
And that's still something that like I question. I'd say a bad day, is this something that I'm really meant to do? But then I'll have a good day the next day and I'll say, heck yeah, this is something I'm meant to do. So
Right.
it's really that internal struggle of recognizing some days are going to be good, some days are going to be bad, but that's also the beauty of this job is that you can have a terrible day one day, your show ends, and say, okay, well, I get to do the same show tomorrow. So you can never get too high, you can never get too low. And I think that's my best advice I can give people in this industry. Really trust yourself, but really be quick to recognize that there is good and bad, and the way you handle those situations is really gonna set you up for success later on. Because like I said, a day, you can have the lowest day one day and then the highest day the other or the next day. So really just recognizing that you are capable and having faith in yourself, faith in the process is really the biggest advice, and something I've learned, but also something I'm still trying to grasp and learn myself.
I like that. I do. Staying even keel, is easier said than done, but you definitely have to. Like you said, not get too high, not get too low. Another question bounced off to me is that when you do have a bad day, what exactly do you do as far as a process to kind of get over that day? You're just getting home. It's been a long day, not your day. What do you do, and how do you process that?
Well, usually I'll just go and open a glass of wine or a bottle of wine. No, just kidding. um, but when I don't know, that's a good question actually. I think I don't know. Let me think actually on that one, because usually if I have a bad day, then I'll go right to um our website. We archive all of our shows, and I think I'll go back and really just watch and process, like, where did I go wrong, what did I do, what can I do next. And I think that's good to a certain extent,
Yeah,
but it's also something you can't drive yourself crazy on.
right.
I think you, at the end of the day, you recognize what your mistakes are, and once you recognize what those mistakes are, you obviously learn and can do better in the future, and the next time you really have the opportunity to take advantage. So I think stress on it, but don't stress on it enough, or to the point where you're driving yourself crazy is really the best advice I can give there. Because you can sit there for hours and think, like, why did I do that? How could I
Right.
done this differently? But don't harp on your mistakes way too much, because you're never going to learn if that's the case.
Yeah, self criticism. You can be harsh on yourself, and it's very easy to do that. And my thing is, mistakes happen. They happen all the time. We're not perfect, but like you said, we live, we learn, and we move on, and we be able to process it and come back stronger the next day. Another question I wanted to ask you is: you've anchored, but you also done live reporting on the outside. So you've been in studio, and you've been in the street as well. Which one do you prefer to do?
That's a great question. So I really have the privilege of doing everything. So I weekend anchor here in Charleston, but then during the week I'm out in the field and doing sports things as well. So some days I love being in the studio, some days I love being in the field, but especially when I get to go to games, like, I've been super lucky and blessed that I get to go to so many basketball games. College of Charleston just hosted North Carolina. I was just in Duke, at Cameron Indoor. I was just at Williams Bryce. So I've been all over the place recently. So I think being in those atmospheres, I mean, there's nothing like them. So I love being in the field, but then there are also days where I love holding it down in the studio. But I think if I had to pick one, I would love to just be in the field at arenas and
I feel
stadiums and
it.
all that kind of stuff and be spoiled. But so yeah,
I
there's
feel it.
no better place than those atmospheres, I'd say.
Nah, I love it. I love it. You keeping it a buck on here, and I love it. You know what I mean? Because when you're in the field, the interaction with the people, there's nothing like it. It's not scripted, especially with a lot of those people, in their interactions and when they talk to you. Being at William Bryce, which is South Carolina Gamecocks football stadium, I know that had to be a treat. Obviously, the game did not go last week the way they should on it. South Carolina wanted it to go, but it was a rivalry game between Clemson and South Carolina for sure. So I like that. I like the fact you like being out in the field,
Right.
interacting with people for sure. That's what's up. It's pretty dope. What advice
Mhm.
um, has someone given you, or you have allocated to someone about being in this industry that you hold on dearly to?
That's a good one. I feel like I'm still learning new things, of course, every day. But I think one of the things that I've been told in my first job and my second job now here in Charleston is that don't take yourself too seriously. I think especially as young journalists, we are just so in love with the idea of being perfect and things being perfect from the jump, and we get told to trust the process and everything. And it's like you said, it's easier said than done. But when you recognize that it's not meant to be perfect, and you're not meant to be perfect, that's when I think the magic happens. Because there are opportunities and there are times where you have to be off the cuff. Nothing about this industry is scripted.
Right.
And those are really the times where you shine, but then you're also very authentic with it. And I think that's another thing I've recognized is that you're so like robotic when you start. You want every word to be fluid and fluent, and yourself to sound so profound and like you know what you're doing. And of course those are all wonderful things, but it's also the times where you stumble, where you laugh about yourself on TV, where you're able to interact with people like that and make it
Right.
seem like it's not effortless, but still put it off like it is. Those are the times where you really thrive, and those are the times where viewers, they really love you, and they recognize, hey, you're not a robot, you're a real person, and you're someone
Yeah.
that I can relate to and want to relate to. So
Yeah.
definitely something I'm still learning myself, but that's perhaps the most or the best advice I've been given so far is just have fun with it, trust yourself, be authentic, because that authenticity is something a lot of people want to gravitate to and relate to.
Oh yeah. I mean, you couldn't have said it better. Be authentic. Be yourself. Kind of a mantra of life. Not just being in the industry, but also, just growing up and just, living your life. If you want to be authentic and be yourself, a lot of times people look at these figures that's in the industry and they want to imitate. And although imitation is flattery, the best thing for you to do is to kind of be yourself and find your own niche and what you try to do. So I love that advice for sure.
Yeah.
Talk about what's on tap this week. What's coming up? We got we're in the middle of basketball, college basketball, of course. Obviously, we have a lot of championship football games. I don't believe Clemson or South Carolina obviously is not in it, but we're going to have bowl season soon too in college football. So talk
Yeah, bowl
about.
season's coming up. Yeah, it's exciting. This is an exciting time of year, especially, yeah. Football's winding down, basketball's winding up, college basketball's winding up. I'm taking a break for that for a week because I get to go cover South Carolina high school football this week. Our championships are all Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'll be in Columbia sidelining for our 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. So I'll be doing all those games this week. So that'll be fun. I'll catch you, or I'll be on the sidelines, so you can catch me there for the next few days.
No, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I love that. Obviously, our football championship is the 9th, 10th, and 11th. For what I do, I'm a sports correspondent. So what I do is I go to the games, I cover them, I talk to coaches, players, I write about it, and it goes into our local newspaper. So that's what I've done as well. And still continue to do it freelance style until I find something more full time. Uh, I do have a reel myself, but I don't have a lot of stuff like that. But I do have a couple of stand ups that I sent in as well. So I'm definitely on the lookout. I mention that because if you hear of anything, and not just in South Carolina, but if you hear something that I don't see or I don't read online or hear about, please don't hesitate to shoot it my way. Um, I'm following you on Instagram, LinkedIn. I know you told me you ain't been on LinkedIn in a minute. And
Yeah,
Twitter.
it's been a minute.
Yeah. And then Twitter, if you have that, I'll follow you there. Those are the three major platforms that I have that I put my content out on. So I will definitely follow you there. I will definitely stay tapped in with you. And my last question to you, as I always end every conversation that I have this way, which is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
I think you covered everything beautifully and really perfectly. Great questions this whole time. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the one thing I want to add is that do what you do for people who are listening to this. Reach out to people in this industry because those are really the best people to speak with. I mean, these interactions are the most real ones that you can get. So you can really get a sense of the unscripted, the kind of the harsh reality of what this this industry can be. So yeah, reach out to people on social media. Especially, journalists specifically are more than welcome, or more than able to take some time and really kind of give you the nuts and bolts of what this industry is. So definitely reach out to people who have similar interests, similar career paths, because they will really kind of put you on the right path to success, or really answer any questions that you have. So that's kind of my last advice there.
No, that's great. I mean, it's nothing like experience. Nothing like talking with somebody who's actually going through it, learning from them. Every experience is different. Every story is different of how you get into this industry. But when you hear people
Right.
talk about how they got into it, what they go through, you may have some similar instances throughout your journey, no doubt. Natalie, I appreciate you coming on to the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I really do. You got to stay tapped in with me. Trust me when I tell you I'm gonna stay tapped in with you, and we definitely gonna get this horse thing going. Trust me, I tell you. I'm gonna be in Charleston. I'll be in Charleston sooner or later. We gonna get this horse thing going. That's for
Okay.
sure.
Easy peasy then. I'll be waiting to hand you an L your way. No worries. Don't you worry about that.
I love the confidence. Well, you take care. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, your week, and it was a pleasure.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a great one. Thanks for having me.
You too. Bye bye.
See ya.